Welcome to Dr. G's YouTube channel. This is Spiritual Frequencies Online Academy through Patreon. This will usually be going once a week, so I look forward to sharing this with you on a weekly basis. Today I'm going to talk about why be conscious. I talk a lot about this in my book, Star Consciousness, but I'm going to give three short stories, examples of one point of view or perspective on the need to be conscious. How to be aware in the now, in the moment, many ways to say it. I'm going to share this first story. I was driving in traffic in downtown San Francisco, and it was beginning to be what they call traffic hour. I'm sure you're familiar with that. So things were getting a little crazy. The streets were getting very full with racing cars and people in a hurry to get home. And I got caught up in that hurry vibration, and I wanted to go a certain way that I thought was the best way to get to the Interstate 80 to head back to northern Nevada, and I was stuck on that. And then I realized, this is some years ago, maybe about 20 years ago, that why am I getting so identified with rushing and having to go a certain way? I turned on some music, I took a couple of deep breaths, and my mind and thought and eyes wandered slightly to the right, and I saw a street with no traffic. So now I'm not in a hurry anymore, so I figured, well, I'm going to follow my intuition and take that street. So I turned right. It was a straight shot all the way to the interstate, which was about 2 minutes tops, instead of 10, 15, 20 minutes waiting there in traffic. And I took off and headed back to northern Nevada on the Interstate 80. So that's just one example of when you're in the moment, when you're conscious, things open up for you. And of course, it was a great lesson for me at the time, and I'm still always learning this lesson. Here's an example of a time when I did not follow being in the moment. It snowed here one day in northern Nevada in the winter, and I look out outside of my place. I'm on the second floor of this two-story duplex, and there's a stairway going down to the first floor, first level, heading to the parking area. And there was snow on the stairs. And usually what I did is just sweep off the snow. It wasn't that deep. It was maybe an inch and a half, something like that. And I did it the same way I always do. I sweep it off, and then I put a little bit of ice down, salt down to kind of melt the ice there. And of course I thought I'm all set to go. And the key here is I did it the way I always do it. So I really wasn't in the moment. I was just assuming I do it this way every time. It should be not an issue, and I should be able to walk down the stairs, which I started off doing carefully. And on the first step, there was black ice. The salt hadn't melted through. I've never had the experience of black ice on the stairs before. And I slipped. Fortunately, I fell down on my butt, like every stair down, all the way to almost the bottom. I was perfectly fine. I wasn't hurt. It was a wake-up call because I was not in the moment, and I made the assumption that I had it all figured out. I did it the same way I always did in the past, and it should work out just fine. So you can see there was an example where I wasn't in the moment. Believe me now, when I have snow on the stairs, I pay a lot more attention. I carefully look at the stair. I don't just sweep automatically and think I'm safe. I'm just very careful about what goes on there. So that's an example where I wasn't in the moment, but I thought I was. And that's the key. I thought I was. I was in my mental imagery, my mental thought. I wasn't really paying attention to perceptive awareness in the present. Here's the third story. I was at an intersection, fairly busy intersection here in town, and I was at a red light, and as often happens, people at the front of the red light are in a hurry. They're waiting for that light to turn green. Sometimes people rev their engines, look in anticipation, so when that light turns, they're going to take off. Here's an example where, fortunately, I was more or less in the moment. I was in no hurry. I realized just go about my business, pay attention to what I was seeing, noticing things around me, feeling the energy of the day, And so I was not revving my engine. I wasn't in a hurry. I simply waited for the light to turn green. The car to my left, on the other hand, had the opposite. They were just in a massive hurry. Now, what I did was I just took off gently from the stoplight, didn't go fast. The other guy on my left took off like a bat out of hell. And unfortunately, somebody ran the light and hit him in the side, T-boned him. Fortunately, he was not hurt. That was good. Since I took off so slowly, I was able just to go right through the intersection. Nothing hit me. I didn't get hurt. It was not a problem at all. So this is just one example, or several stories I just gave you, the 3 stories, that give you guidelines to why consciousness can be very, very important. It is a form of, I guess you could say, protection. You see things coming, you sense what to do or not to do. So I highly recommend that you make an effort to be conscious and aware in the moment, day by day.